So good morning class 7. Today I will now explain to you briefly about the poem Daffodils written by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth is considered as a nature's poet. We all know that he is better known as a nature's poet. Now, he has written this poem Daffodils, and he was inspired and got the inspiration to write this poem at his very, very later age, when he grew old. From where he got the inspiration? Once he was walking along the shore of the lake with his sister Dorothy, and he saw lots of daffodils, flowers, dancing, fluttering in the breeze, which brought him immense happiness, inward happiness. Recollecting this and getting nostalgic, later on he wrote this poem Daffodils. Now daffodils actually is a flower, yellow colored flower. But here the poet mentions it's as golden daffodils. There are two reasons why he calls this golden. Because golden, one is metaphorical, one reason. Another one reason is, since it is yellow in color, he tells us it is golden daffodils, because it brought him immense joy. This poem, Daffodils, this poem is about joy, joyfulness, and loneliness. Joyfulness and loneliness. According to Wordsworth, we can get immense joy, immense pleasure in our inward self. Though we feel lonely during our loneliness, if we become nostalgic and recollect about the happy moments that have taken in our life in past, if we imagine, if we stretch our imagination backwards, we can gain happiness, joyfulness, even if we are lonely. Here in this poem, Daffodils, the central theme of the poem is happiness and loneliness. We call it the poem Daffodils, some call it I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. And here, the starting of the poem, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Here I is the poet. As a small child, who was feeling very lonely in his old age, and he's comparing with the clouds, which flies away lonely, nobody there. And he compares the daffodils with the Milky Way also, continuous stretch of stars in the galaxy. And in the poem he mentions a host of golden daffodils. Now let's see. Now look at the poem, the Daffodils, class 7. Open to page 14 of your textbook, main textbook. See, he says, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. He's comparing himself. He's not lonely. The poet has reached his old age, stays alone, very lonely, very pensive, very sad, no companion, and he compares himself to the clouds, aimlessly wandering about over valleys and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. A host of golden daffodils. The poet says, it's a metaphor. A host of golden daffodils, besides the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. He's telling them this. Besides the shore of the lake, he sees a number of daffodils, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Here he had personified the daffodils. He had put some human qualities inside this inanimate object, flowers, daffodils. Here he had made personification. This is a figure of speech. Continuous as the stars that shine. He's comparing the daffodil flowers, a host of daffodils, with the continuous, never-ending stretch of stars in the Milky Way. And I twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched a never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance, dancing, fluttering, personification of daffodils. The poet is feeling very happy, very joyful while observing these daffodil flowers, while he was walking past the shore of the lake along with his sister Dorothy, which he is recollecting while writing this poem. That nostalgic feeling in the past, and that stretch of now, he is using that stretch of imagination now in his later life when he has grown old, when he is feeling lonely, very sad, he is using his stretch of imagination few years back, when he walked past the shore of the lake along with his sister Dorothy and noticed a host of daffodil flowers moving. And by thinking about that sequence, he is, in his loneliness, when the poet is in a very pensive mood, melancholy, he is getting very happiness, his joyfulness. The waves besides them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Now while the daffodils were dancing, besides that, the lake, the waters of the lake, the waves, they were also dancing. But the poet says the daffodils outdid the synchronization what was being done by the waves. The dancing of the daffodils is far more better than the waves of the waters of the lakes. They outdid the waves. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company, and he is feeling very happy in the happy company of the daffodil flowers. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what went to show me, I would not thought. And he stood there. He is observing them. He is seeing the daffodils under the trees, beneath the trees, besides the lake, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, with a perfect synchronization, which has brought him immense pleasure. Thinking about that in the past, what he had witnessed, what the poet had witnessed, and in his later life, when he has grown old, when he wrote this poem, when he was very lonely, feeling very lonely, very sad, that stretch of imagination is bringing him happiness now. So the poet wants to convey to us that even if we are lonely, even if we are feeling sad in our loneliness, we can bring happiness to ourselves also by stretching our imagination and thinking about the good things in the past. It will change the mood of ours. For oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, the poet is saying, when he is very lonely, lying down on his small cot, on his bed, in a very sad, melancholy mood, they flash upon the inward eye. Inward eye means in the dreams of the poet. Inward eye, the spiritual vision of the poet. And feels happy, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure feels and dance with the daffodils. So this imagination, stretch of imagination of the daffodils dancing brings him immense joy and pleasure. And in spiritual vision, the poet feels very happy in the company of the daffodil flowers. Okay.